In one fleeting instant, the universe seemed to shift, as though a silent cosmic switch had been thrown. A brilliant flash erupted across the night sky, and for exactly 6 minutes the interstellar object, known as 3 Atlas, grew 4 times brighter than ever recorded in human history. Every major observatory on Earth witnessed the same impossible surge of luminous intensity, and within minutes the James Webb Space Telescope confirmed that the event was not a natural outburst, not the type of fluctuation seen in comets or icy bodies, but something that violated the expectations of physics itself. The reaction across the world was immediate and electric. The global network of space agencies reoriented satellites and redirected Mars orbiters to observe the anomaly, while ground-based telescopes shifted in unison as though the entire astronomical community had been caught in the gravity of the same unspoken realization. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, a suffocating silence followed. Scientists who had shared data openly for decades withdrew behind locked channels, and the public felt the weight of something withheld, something too immense to articulate. If the universe had sent a signal, an unmistakable pulse of intent, humanity was left wondering what message might have been encoded within that burst of unnatural light. Yet the story had begun quietly, far from the international observatories and research hubs, in a peaceful town in northern Germany, where Maria Schultz, an amateur astronomer adjusting her modest 12-inch telescope under a clear night sky, had unknowingly taken the first step into a mystery that would soon engulf the world. She had been tracking the dim green object known as 3 Atlas for several weeks and expected nothing more than another faint observation, a tiny drifting point of light against the endless darkness. But as her computer processed the new data, the brightness graph shot upward in a clean, vertical spike, a perfect leap rather than a curve or a flicker, like a single heartbeat in the void. Startled, Maria assumed she had made an error, but every calibration check returned flawless. Every star used for reference behaved as expected, and the software logs showed no anomalies. The numbers stood unchallenged, a 1.4 magnitude jump sustained for precisely 6 minutes before dropping back to normal. Within the hour, identical confirmations began appearing online from astronomers in Brazil, Arizona, New Zealand, and beyond. Their telescopes differed, their coordinates differed, their imaging software differed, yet every graph showed the same impossibly sharp spike, down to the minute. What had started as one woman's late-night observation ignited a storm across global astronomy forums, uniting amateurs and professionals in a frantic attempt to understand the impossible. University labs cross-checked the raw exposure files and found no instrument errors. The citizen science group Skywatch Collective verified that the readings came from independent instruments operating under wildly different atmospheric conditions. The phenomenon was real. No known comet or asteroid had ever brightened that quickly. Even the famous outburst of Comet 17P/Holmes in 2007, one of the most dramatic in modern history, had taken nearly 2 days to reach the brightness 3 Atlas achieved in minutes. By midnight, telescopes around the world had locked onto the object, and for a short, shining moment astronomy felt unified, open, collaborative, driven not by competition but by awe. Some called it the most significant interstellar anomaly since Oumuamua, while others whispered that 3 Atlas might not be a comet at all. Yet with wonder came fear. If the object could brighten so violently once, what was stopping it from doing something even more drastic? While scientists waited for a second pulse that never came, the object returned to its quiet drift, but the world did not. It felt as though the night sky had opened its eyes. The discovery spread more rapidly than any scientific announcement in memory. The Gemini North in Hawaii, the Very Large Telescope in Chile, and China's Fast Radio Array dropped all scheduled observations to focus on the anomaly. The International Astronomical Union called its first emergency session in years, and 11 countries coordinated an unprecedented global observation plan, temporarily setting aside competition for funding and prestige. For 48 feverish hours, Earth unified around one question. What exactly was 3 Atlas? But just as the world reached peak awareness, an eerie silence fell. Live data streams from observatories went offline. Social media posts vanished. Research dashboards displayed maintenance notices, and astronomers who had been posting hourly updates stopped communicating entirely, some deleting their accounts as if wiping away any trace of involvement. It was not a technical failure. It was a decision, deliberate and synchronized. Amateur astronomers noticed that satellite tracking channels previously pointed toward 3E Atlas had been redirected, leaving only blank sky. Something had caused the most open scientific network in the world to close its doors overnight. Into that silence, leaks began to trickle out. An internal memo from a senior European Space Agency radar engineer mentioned non-gravitational acceleration 4 times greater than predicted by any model. There were also unusual increases in infrared radiation, about 30 Kelvin above baseline, and faint bursts of gamma energy perfectly aligned with the comet's coordinates. These findings, consistent across multiple observatories, raised more questions than answers. Instead of triggering the usual flurry of peer review and academic discourse, the data precipitated a sudden global lockdown. Access credentials were revoked, servers hosting open datasets went offline, online research folders vanished, and websites were replaced with generic placeholders. It felt as though someone had drawn a line around the truth and dared the scientific world to cross it. Even more chilling were the short radar logs showing bursts of motion inconsistent with the natural behavior of any object drifting through space. Sudden shifts in velocity, faint spectrographic heat plateaus forming geometric patterns no rock or ice could produce, and deep space reflections pulsing in a rhythm every 247 seconds, synchronized across observatories. Whispers spread about an internal emergency protocol known only by one word: containment. As tension mounted, a single leaked message from a Chilean researcher appeared online before the account vanished. They told us to stop watching. And then came the image. Hidden within a batch of classified James Webb data was a frame showing something astonishing. 3E Atlas was not alone. It had a companion, smaller, colder, dimmer, moving alongside it at a perfectly stable distance of about 75 miles. It did not drift, did not wobble, did not slow or accelerate relative to the larger object. It moved in flawless formation. No natural body traveling between stars could maintain that stability. Even tiny differences in mass or velocity would cause separation over time. Yet the companion remained locked in position, as though connected by an unseen mechanism. Its surface reflected almost no visible light, suggesting a material designed to absorb energy. Worse still, faint microwave emissions revealed the unmistakable signature of active thermal regulation, a behavior no natural object could perform. Internal agency documents quietly changed the object's classification, referring to the pair as the 3 Atlas complex. The word complex implied a system. A system implied design. Engineers compared the model to satellite constellations, though far more advanced than anything humans had ever created. Some theorized that the smaller body controlled the larger one. Others suspected it was a probe observing us. When a single leaked frame showed straight lines, edges too precise, angles too intentional, it was enough for those who saw it to draw the chilling conclusion that this was not a drifting cosmic rock, but an arrival, and arrivals rarely travel alone. The moment that changed everything came when the object finally spoke. After weeks of quiet, a burst of radio energy sliced through cosmic background noise, focused, deliberate, and aimed directly at Earth. It lasted just 12 seconds, but its structure made it clear that randomness had nothing to do with it. The transmission was sent at the frequency of the hydrogen spectral line, the universal constant used by humans in nearly every interstellar message we've ever attempted to broadcast. The signal patterns formed 6 perfect hexagons arranged around a central dark point, mirroring the formation of the Atlas complex itself. It was a message about identity. We are here. We are patterned. We are deliberate. Debate exploded behind closed doors, and governments moved quickly, dismissing the event as interference while simultaneously locking away every byte of data. But the world had already seen enough to understand that something beyond human understanding had reached out. Then, exactly 12 seconds